All right, release for departure, enter controlled airspace on course, clearance void in 10 minutes, and we'll give you a call by then.
All right, 991 and Evansville, altimeter 29905.
905, copy, thanks.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
Cessna 991 flighting 060, descend to maintain 4,000 vectors ILS approach.
060 down to 4,000, 991. All right, 060 set, going to heading mode. 4,000 set and vertical speed 500 feet a minute down to 4,000. All right, I'm actually going to take it off autopilot. I'm going to hand fly it the rest of the way down. There's 76 on glide slope on localizer. Starting to get a little ground contact.
I'm Josh, a flight instructor and a filmmaker with a passion for the sky, sharing it with those around me and using it to see our world from a new perspective. Flying can seem super complex, and I've made it my mission to showcase safe practices while sharing the beauty we behold on these adventures. This is Aviation 101.
0991, Addison ground, clear to Hotel Yankee India Airport via on departure fly runway heading expect radar vectors, show for 9er departure.
All right, flying up to Lexington, Kentucky today. Make sure we don't have any chocks. Pre-flight's done. We actually had all night. We went to bed probably about 10 o'clock, and I remember waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and thunderstorms were still raging outside. All the storms are past, and it looks pretty clear between here and Lexington, but it is marginal VFR the whole way. So, filed an IFR flight plan. I'm gonna pick that up on the phone before leaving the ground here, because this little scud layer did just blow in. So there are some lower clouds here, still high clouds above it, but definitely gonna pick up the IFR on the ground. All right, mixture's coming full rich, fuel selector is on both, and trim is set where I want it. That's just kind of my general flow. 2 shots of primer should be plenty for this engine. Clear prop. This is a very calm and humid mid-July morning, and a fresh pitot-static check will be due for 991 at the end of the month. I'm gonna go ahead and get that as well as a fresh transponder check done at an avionics shop in Lexington, Kentucky. But there's another objective that makes this mission more time critical. Chelsea and I have been doing a bunch of pre-Oshkosh upgrades to both of these Cessnas. New wingtips and wheel and LED lights for 991, new wheel and LEDs for 56 X-ray, and a Garmin GI 275 EIS to modernize the panel of her 1966 Cessna 150. November 80991 is ready for Oshkosh after today's sign-offs. But there's one little fitting she still needs to complete the install of her GI 275 on the 150, and we cannot find it in stock anywhere. So while I'm at a big maintenance facility, I'm gonna try my luck and see if they have one in stock. But for now, the ceiling is about 500 feet, and I'm definitely gonna need to pick up an IFR clearance over the phone to get out of here.
There's a little turn off to exit the runway down at each end of this 5,000 foot paved runway. That way you can just totally get out of the way. You don't have to do your run up on the ramp and then hurry up and back taxi. And Ohio County traffic, Skyhawk 80991 is clear of the runway, Ohio County. We're gonna stop here and execute our run up checklist. Run up, brakes set and hold. I'm just gonna hold them. Fuel selector is on both. Trim set for takeoff. Flight controls for incorrect.
If I'm picking up an IFR clearance at a pilot-controlled field like this, I like to have already done my pre-taxi, run-up, and pre-takeoff checklists before I ever dial a phone number or call a controller. Sometimes the controller will ask how much time you need before departure, in which case they're going to give you a clearance with a hold for release instruction, meaning you'll basically need to call them back when you are number 1 for your departure runway and you're ready for departure. But controllers don't always ask how much time you need. In my experience, sometimes they're primed and ready with your clearance and avoid time so that they can get the clearance done, put down the phone, and get back to working whatever frequency they're on.
710 approach.
Hey, this is November 80991 on the ground at Juliet, Quebec, Delta, looking for the IFR to Lexington.
And I can stand by 1 on the approach control, pick you up.
All right, thanks.
710 approach, is this 80991?
That's it.
November 80991, roger, cleared to Lima Echo X-ray Airport as filed. On departure, maintain 3,000, expect 5,000, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency will be 124.02, squawk 4222, hold for
clear to Lexington via as filed. Climb and maintain 3,000, expect 5,000 in 10 minutes. Departure is 124.02. Squawk 4222, hold for the release, 80991.
You're 991, read back correct. And are you number 1 ready to go at this time, or you need to call back?
Number 1 ready to go, runway 21, and we'll probably need like 3 or 4 minutes just to set up the avionics here.
Alright, 991, you can enter controlled airspace on course, and clearance void if not off in 10 minutes. Not off in 10 minutes, advise ATC no later than 15 minutes of intentions. Release for departure.
Alright, release for departure, enter controlled airspace on course, clearance void in 10 minutes, and we'll give you a call by then.
Alright, 991, and Evansville altimeter 2995.
905, copy, thanks.
Alright, we'll talk to you later.
In this case, the controller went ahead and gave me the clearance with a hold for release instruction at the end. And then the controller immediately asked, am I ready to go, or am I gonna need to call back? I said I'm ready to go, aside from the 3 to 4 minutes it's gonna take me to put the route in the avionics. So at that point, he went ahead and released me for departure. This basically means that air traffic control is ready to receive me into their controlled airspace as an IFR flight. Being released for departure, however, does not mean you are safe and clear to take off. This is still a pilot-controlled field, and it is still my responsibility to ensure I'm clear of traffic and I make the proper calls on the CTAF, and I'm not about to taxi onto the runway in front of a landing aircraft, for example. That's still my responsibility. Of course, if there were another IFR plane inbound on an approach, then the controller would have to wait until they've canceled IFR, or until they've gone missed and contacted approach again before they can issue my IFR release. I invite you to check out the FAA's Instrument Procedures Handbook on page 1-43, starting at the paragraph titled Departures from Airports Without an Operating Control Tower. This will help shed light on all of these confusing procedures, releases, void times, clearances, and how they all work together to make our IFR system so seamless.
Ohio County traffic, Skyhawk 80991 is taxiing onto runway 21. We're going to be a left turn out, departure to the northeast, Ohio County. All right, windows, mixture, and lights. All right, use up all available runway here. Heels down on the floor. There's 60 knots. We're up and climbing well before the taxiway. I'm gonna give it a little nose down trim here. And we're on instruments. Alright, we're going to start the turn, the left turn here. Ohio County traffic, Skyhawk 80991 just departed runway 21 or 1,500 climbing, making a left turn to the northeast, IFR, Ohio County. I'm already starting to see glimpses of the tops up here. Drop my visor a little bit. Good morning, Evansville approach, Skyhawk 80991 off Ohio County, on course climb, climbing through 1,800.
November 991 radar contact just south of Ohio County, climb maintain 5,000.
Climb maintain 5,000, 80991. Alright, we're on top. And our modes are set, autopilot on. Punch up through a layer. Looks like the clouds are going to thin out up ahead. Actually have a little bit of precip en route that we might have to deal with here.
November 80991, contact Louisville approach 123.67. Have a good day.
23.67, 80991, get it. Louisville approach, Skyhawk 80991, 4,400, climbing 5,000.
Okay, 0991, approach for about 2994.
904, 991. Alright, leveling off 5,000. Ease the power
November
back.
now, current about 294, and field is now IMC.
Alright, got that high RPM, generating a good charge for the battery. Gonna pull the power back just a smidge. Climb speed, 78, flaps retracted, of course, power is set. Full instruments calibrated and cross-check, and lights, taxi landing lights, let's get those off. And flight plan open. Cruise checklist, power set. mixture set lean. We're just gonna fly this rich of peak, calibrated. Instruments calibrated and cross-check. Everything looks good. Sync the heading bug here, and lights are set as I want them. Cruise checklist complete. IFR on top. 52 minutes out from Lexington. That is my first sip of coffee in the morning. Alright, we're burning 7.5 gallons an hour. RPM is set at 2450. We're running rich at peak. Hottest CHT is 395. Pretty good. So everything around Lexington is reporting IFR, but Lexington is reporting sky clear. I'm gonna change this to cloud ceilings. Yeah, it's like below 1,000 all around Lexington. So that cloud layer might be creeping that way because that's the way the wind is blowing. So let's go ahead and ATIS is 26.3. And in terms of weather, wind is 170 at 4. Instrument approach, they have an ILS to 04 and an ILS to 22. Might be using runway 22 here. Could also do the RNAV, but ILS 22 is likely what we'll do. 42 minutes out. So provided it doesn't change, ILS 22 is in use. We should have that one already up over here. Okay. ILS or localizer 22. I'm going to hit procedure, approach. Already have Lexington selected, so ILS 22. We either have vectors or saddle. I bet we're going to have, let's just load saddle, and we can certainly change that and go to the second navcom here. So 111.75 is there. Let's put it in here, 111.75, so we have it on the backup radio as well. The Garmin avionics will automatically identify the Morse code, so we don't, with this modern technology, we don't have to do that. It'll actually listen to the Morse code and put a green identifier up there, or down here it'll actually put it next to the frequency. Actually, I think it's next to it right there. And that's not coming from a database. It'll actually listen to the Morse code and decode it and put that identifier next to what's in the database. And if it doesn't match, that's how you know. It's still your responsibility as the pilot to glance at that. Also, because these two Garmin radios are interfaced with the G3X, and I have the nav radios up here, I will see those identifiers pop up right here on the PFD, so I really don't even have to look away from the PFD.
Approach UPS 197 heavy.
Approach course is going to be 226.
6,000. We've got information kilo and ramp.
Runway is 6,600 feet long, touching down about 1,000 feet above sea level.
UPS 197.
If we're outside of saddle, we're going to be at or above 3,000. If we're outside of bridle, we're going to be at or above 2,600, and bridle is the final approach fix, according to the little, according to the lightning bolt arrow there, and the Maltese cross. In this case, they're the same. It is the final approach fix for both the ILS and the localizer. Intercept the glide path at or before bridle, depending on what our altitude is, and we're going to follow it down to the straight in ILS decision altitude of 1,179 feet. 1,179 feet. A little early for me to be putting all this stuff in and briefing it, but if they change approaches on me, I'll just change all of it. It's okay. It really doesn't take all that much work to put this stuff in. If there's a chance for me to go ahead and brief something or go ahead and get some workload done and get ahead of the game, I will. Even if there's a risk, I may have to redo it later. 126.3, we've got the ATIS in there and we're already receiving it. This approach is going to be straight out climb to 1,400 feet and then a left climbing turn to 3,100 feet direct to Hotel Yankee Kilo, which is the Lexington VR.
Via the J Money 1, information Lima.
I'll consider the ILS 22 in the Lexington brief.
4,400, approach 617 right.
17 right, looking 4,400.
I think I can see a little bit of precip up ahead, and I think that's this green stuff I'm seeing on radar, but I can see the horizon through it, so it's really not thick. And it looks more like Virga. Looks a little darker out to my left, which is to the north, and right out there is Louisville. Doing 122 knots over the ground. We have, wind is 290 at 15, so we probably have about, yeah, it's about a 12 knot tailwind up here. Alright, so right here on nav 1.
2013 heavy contact approach on 120.3.
And nav 2.
20.3, 2013, good day.
The radios have identified India Golf November Juliet. which matches the database for the ILS-22. So we are indeed picking up the correct signal for the ILS-22.
Number 80991, contact Lexington approach 120.15.
20.15, 80991, good day. 2015, transfer. Good morning, Lexington approach, Skyhawk 80991, 5000, we have Tango.
Number 80991, Lexington approach, good morning, altimeter is 29097, expect ILS runway 22 approach.
29097, expect the ILS-22, 991. Alright, ILS-22 is already loaded, already briefed. That's where the real benefit of being ahead of the game comes in. If you would have told me, we just changed flows, expect the ILS-04, it'll take me 60 seconds to reload and rebrief everything.
Cessna 991 flighting 060, descend to maintain 4000 vectors ILS approach.
060 down to 4000, 991. Alright, 060 set, going to heading mode. 4000 set and vertical speed 500 feet a minute down to 4000. Gonna reduce power. Descent checklist. Seat tracks and backs upright and locked. Seatbelt shuttle harnesses are fastened. Fuel selector is indeed on both. Let's check the carb heat. 1000 to go. No carb ice.
Lexington Bluegrass, it is information, Tango, 12.
Still Tango. Altimeter 29097 set. Instruments calibrated and cross-checked. Everything looks good. And I got the backup G5 over here. I'm going to go ahead and go split screen on my side just to have that situational awareness of the map. Altitude target is set 4,000. Baro minimums set and verify 1197, or sorry, 1179 and 1179 on the approach plate. Baro minimums are set. And mixture enriching as required, I already gave it a little bit. Descent checklist complete, ready on the pre-landing. And he said this is vectors for the ILS-22, so I'm going to go to procedure, activate vectors to final.
Citation 64 Mike, contact Indy Center 124.62, good morning.
We've gone to green needles
64 Mike.
and glide slope
Approach for Care 5832 is 10,000 and we have...
is inactive at the moment, but it'll come alive in a little bit.
Approach Lex altimeter is 29097, descend to maintain 4000, expect ILS runway 22. 2997, descend to maintain 4000, Brickyard 5832, ILS 22.
I go to waypoint, Lexington frequencies, put tower in the standby. I'm assuming tower is going to be next. And then ground is 0.9, 121.9.
And approach Brickyard 5832, just want to confirm, we're just cleared to join the localizer, we're not cleared for the approach yet.
Brickyard 5832, thanks for checking. You're 2 miles from saddle, cross saddle ladder above 3000, cleared ILS, runway 22 approach.
Cross saddle ladder above 3000, clear for the ILS 22, Brickyard 5832, thanks.
Alright, approach is briefed, checklist, descent checklist is done. We're just waiting on the pre-landing checklist. I'll do that when we're a little bit closer in, getting vectored. We're on green needles, vectors to final is activated. We're on approach, got tower in the standby. We're ready for this approach. Now it's just a matter of, do I want to do it on autopilot or hand fly it? So according to the avionics, Lexington Airport is just inside of our glide ring. Right down there.
Runway 22, no Stearman, runway 4 approach lights out of service. Has the full information available for taking United States Connect Flight Service for details. Advise others contact TIP Tango.
Still information Tango.
Area 0991, descend to maintain 3000.
Down to 3,000, 991. Alright. 3,000 is set. I see 3,000. Vertical speed set -500. Reduce the power a little bit. Taxi and landing lights on. We got identifiers on both radios, so the Morse code has been verified. They indeed match what it's supposed to be. India Golf, November Juliet. Off to my left here is, somewhere down here, is Georgetown, Kentucky. That's where I bought the red pickup truck.
Lexington Bluegrass, it is information, Tango, 1.
Still information Tango, but the METAR on Garmin Pilot here shows that they just went 700 overcast. Also reflects that on Sirius XM here. Clouds broken at 700.
Aircraft has this weather for Kentucky surrounding states on flight service station frequencies.
We're at 19 Celsius outside air temp. We do not need the pitot heat.
Area 0991, turn right heading 130.
130 on the heading, 991. Alright, this is basically going to be our base leg.
Approach, District 5435, checking 11,000, take go.
District 5435, Lex approach, Lex altimeter 29097, clear direct saddle, expect vectors for the ILS final approach course and to maintain 6,000.
Direct saddle, 6,000, District 5435.
Number 991, turn right heading 200 on the localizer.
200, join the localizer, 991. Alright, 200 and arm nav. Localizer is armed. We're not cleared for the approach though. Localizer is captured.
Number 991, 3 miles from Bridle, maintain 3,000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS, runway 22 approach.
Maintain 3,000 until established on the localizer, cleared ILS 2280991. Alright, approach mode is armed. So glide slope is armed and it's coming down. Pre-landing checklist. Seatbelt shuttle harnesses are fastened. Brakes pedal test, we're good. All lights are on. Barrel minimums 1179, we already verified that. Autopilot, we're going to leave it on for now. And mixture, let's give it a little bit more in.
Commercial, let's go. It's
get the carb heat
5389, 2,000, climbing 5,000, runway heading.
Check it. Wait for just a
389,
second.
Lexington departure, good morning, radar contact, cleared or Clegg, climb maintain 10,000.
Flaps, we're waiting to slow down for the glide path, and VREF is going to be 60 knots. Pre-landing checklist complete.
Number 991, contact tower 19.1.
119.1, 991, good day. Lexington Tower, Skyhawk 80, 991, ILS 22.
Skyhawk 80, 991, Lexington Tower, wind 2405, runway 22, clear to land.
22, clear to land, 991.
Set at 322, Lexington Tower, fly runway heading, runway 22, clear for takeoff. 2 clear for takeoff, runway heading, let's at 322.
Alright. Glide path is almost at us here, so let's go ahead and reduce the power. Heartbeat's coming out. And we're going to get inside 85 knots and drop the first notch of flaps, 10 degrees. There's 85, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Flaps set 10 degrees, and we're just going to ride 10 degrees all the way down until we see the runway. And the runway is also so long, if we don't have a chance, like if we break out right at the 200-foot minimums, and we don't have a chance to drop more flaps, that's okay. The runway is super long. Alright, we're on tower, we're clear to land. I'm going to go ahead and load ground in the standby. I had a low workload moment here. Give it a little bit of power here. Alright, and this is actually really nice conditions here, so I'm
Set at 322, contact departure, good day.
Departure, Jet 322, good day.
Skyhawk 991, request the base report.
Okay, we'll let you know what the bases were. Tops were 3,000.
Top 3,000, rudder, was it clear above?
Very high layer, probably about 12,000 up there.
Rudder.
Alright, I'm actually going to take it off autopilot. I'm going to hand fly it the rest of the way down. Alright, we're passing through 2,300 feet. Alright, 75 knots, we're right on glide slope, right on the localizer. We are clear to land and he wants a base report. I was actually going to give that to him anyways. Especially with conditions kind of changing, going up and down like this. I think the controllers really appreciate having that sort of report. Alright, 77 knots, which is about 2 knots above my target, no big deal. Oh, there's 76 on glide slope on localizer. Starting to get a little ground contact, but I am not looking outside yet. Can afford to pull a little throttle out. Got some ground contact, but no runway yet. We are 800 feet off the ground. 600 to go. On speed, on glide slope, on localizer. I see some PAPI lights out there, but don't quite see the runway yet. 500 to go. 400 to go. Runway in sight. Bases are at 1,500 here.
Roger.
Runway in sight. We're clear to land, runway 22, going to Thoroughbred Aviation, which I think is that big open hangar over there. Alright, we'll just feel it out here on short final. We're in the clear, we're not an IMC, so we're on speed. And the wind is pretty calm, so I might go ahead and add another notch of flaps here in just a second. Just to make the flare a little bit easier. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Alright, flap set 20. Still stabilized.
Minimums, minimums.
Minimums, runway in sight, continue. Alright, carb heat's in, ready for a go around. Runway's made, power's coming to idle, coming down through 70 knots. Give it some nose up trim. Looks like we got a crown on the runway. No big deal. Into the flare. And chirp chirp. One tire at a time. Nice. That was a fun ILS.
Sky 991, exit at Golf, and contact ground point 9er.
Alright, Golf, ground point 9er, 991, thanks. Alright, cleared at Golf. Switch to ground. Alright, loved ones have been notified and we're on ground. Lexington ground, Skyhawk 80991 is clear of runway 22 at Golf going to Thoroughbred.
Skyhawk 80991, Lexington ground, taxi Alpha Charlie to the ramp.
Alpha Charlie to the ramp, 991.
That was a perfect, easy IFR flight. There was no threatening weather, no complications, and a nice hand-flown ILS down to 500 feet to top it all off. Now November 80991 is in the hands of the avionics shop while they pull it in for a fresh pitot static and transponder check. And a fun little fact about this shop, this is the first shop that Chelsea ever worked at as an AMP apprentice. This is where she had her first maintenance job. I'm gonna hang out in the FBO, make some work-related phone calls, do some stuff on my laptop, and in about 2 hours time, 80991 is gonna be finished up. I was pleased to hear that 2 years after Daytona Aircraft installed all of this beautiful Garmin equipment, the pitot static system was still very tightly pressurized and super accurate. Now, at this point, there's just one more line of business before I get back in the plane. Chelsea needs this 45-degree AN fitting to connect the manifold pressure transducer between her engine and the new Garmin GI275. And it just so happens that Thoroughbred Aviation were one of the only places online or locally that had one of these things in stock. $15 later, the precious cargo was in my front pocket. I said thanks to the guys at the shop and told them hi for Chelsea, and I gave 991 a thorough pre-flight inspection for an IFR flight back to Ohio County.
Lexington clearance Skyhawk November 80991 IFR to Juliet, Quebec Delta.
Cessna 80991 Lexington clearance. Clear to the Juliet, Quebec Delta Airport via S filed. Climb maintain 3000. Expect 6000. 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency is 120.15. Squawk 4202.
Clear to the Juliet, Quebec Delta Airport via as filed. Climb and maintain 3000. Expect 6000. 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 120.15. Squawk 4202. 80991.
Cessna 991, we're back to correct advisory to taxi with information, Yankee.
We have Yankee, will advise. Okay, as filed, which is direct, initial altitude set 3000, 4202 on the squawk, 120.15, and get tower in the standby there. Good to go. Lexington ground, Skyhawk 80991 at signature with information Yankee ready to taxi IFR, and we will need a run-up.
Skyhawk 80991 Lexington ground, runway 22, taxi via Tango 2, and at Tango 2, hold short at taxiway Alpha, and let me know when you're done with your run-up.
Okay, taxi to 22 via Tango 2, and we'll hold short of Alpha and let you know when we're done with our run-up, 991. Okay, so we're going to go over to Tango 2 and hold short of Alpha. That was me 4 years ago coming in on one of these American Airlines.
It was about 4 years ago that I airlined into this terminal right here. I got a lift to a dealership in Georgetown and haggled a good deal on this 1987 Ford F-150. And later that evening is when Chelsea and I met. I'll link the video down below that tells that whole story. It's pretty cool to see how some things come full circle in a small and unexpected way. It's a good reminder that even though you can't see around the figurative corner yet, everything happens for a reason. I executed the run-up and pre-takeoff checklists, got permission from ground to taxi to the end of the runway, and I was ready to launch, this time, though, into a much higher cloud layer.
I don't want to pull up 90 degrees to the line. I like a 45-degree position so that in this high wing, I don't have to try and look under the wings. I can see airplanes coming in. And in fact, there's a Cessna turning base to final right now. All right, we're stopped. Switching to tower. 2015 is departure frequency. Lexington Tower, Skyhawk 80991 is holding short of runway 22 at Alpha 7, ready for IFR departure.
Skyline 80991, Lexington Tower, runway 22, line up and wait. Arrival traffic to Skyhawk on a 6-mile final.
Line up and wait, runway 22, 80991.
Aviation 101.
Hey. All right, windows, mixture, and lights. Strobes and landing lights, wingtip landing lights on. All right, we got plenty of runway, but good habit is to always use as much runway as you can.
Track 74 Delta, exit a golf and contact ground point 9. Good day.
So I come right up to the edge of the runway and line up. And now we wait for the takeoff clearance. 17
Skyhawk
seconds.
901, turn right heading 250, runway 22, clear for takeoff.
Right to 250, runway 22, clear for takeoff, 80-901. Alright, windows, mixture, and lights, heels down to the floor, advance to takeoff power.
Track 2, Lima Uniform, traffic departure roll, wind 2608, runway 22, cleared option.
Takeoff power set, there's 45 knots. Cylinders and oil pressure look great. There's 55 knots, we're starting to get light. There's 60. We're airborne before the 1,000-foot markers.
Traffic.
Give it a little nose down trim here. And when I feel it's safe, I'll make that gentle right-hand turn to 250. There was no altitude restriction on that. I feel safe and stable. There's 250. All right, I'm going to set the speed
Skyhawk
by
901, contact departure.
to departure, 991, good day. Lexington departure, Skyhawk 80-901, 1,500, climbing 3,250.
Track 80-901, Lex departure, radar contact.
Lexington, FJ74, 12.5, descending 11,000, 30 this side of Lexington.
Upjet 874, Lexington approach, Lexington altimeter 29908.
2998, FJ74, we've got Yankee.
1,000 to go.
Juliet, direct Delta. We have the weather.
901, climb maintain 6,000.
Up to 6,000, 80-901.
Upjet 874, turn 10 degrees right, vector for the ILS, runway 22 approach, descend to maintain 5,000.
Descend right, descend maintain 5,000, FJ74.
Track 901, turn right direct, Juliet, Quebec, Delta.
Direct destination, 991, thanks. Alright, we'll put her in nav mode, so the flight director had given me a turn instruction. And we are direct destination
3078,
up to
contact
6,000.
tower 119.1.
19-1, Delta 3078.
The cruise back to Ohio County was pretty uneventful, but the heat of this summer afternoon definitely ramped up the thunderstorm activity moving through the area. And for a little bit there, it looked like I might have to divert to wait out some weather moving over Ohio County.
80-991's vacating 6,000 now.
November 80-901, roger.
Hartford, Ohio County Airport. Automated weather observation 1942 Zulu. Wind 240 at 7 knots. Visibility more than 10. Sky condition scattered at 1,800. Broken at 2,400. Broken at 3,100. Temperature 28 Celsius. Dew point 24 Celsius. Altimeter 2,998 inches of mercury. Remark. Density altitude 2,500.
Alright, we got the ATIS, altimeter set 2,998, cross-checked. Instruments calibrated and cross-checked. Everything looks great. Altitude target set 2,500.
80-901, Ohio County Airport, 12 o'clock, 18 miles, report field and site when you get it.
Looking for the airport, we'll let you know, 991. Don't need barrel minimums and mixture enriching as required. Let's give it a little swig in. And descent checklist complete, ready on the pre-landing checklist. Taxi and landing lights on.
November 80-901, Evansville approach, how do you hear?
Loud and clear, 991.
November 80-901, roger, there is an area of moderate precipitation off your 1 o'clock and about 8 miles, spans about 5 miles in diameter moving eastbound, and Ohio County Airport, 12 o'clock, 10 miles.
80-991, roger. Got a visual on that weather, and there's a little bit of a scattered layer between us and the airport. We'll let you know when we have it in sight. We're descending down to 2,500 now.
November 80-901, just advise if you prefer to do an approach into Ohio County.
80-991 will advise. We're just, actually, we just popped out of the layer just now. We can go ahead and cancel IFR. We see the airport.
November 80-901, roger, IFR cancellation received. Squawk VFR, change to advisory frequency approved. Have a good day. And no traffic is observed between you and Ohio County Airport.
All right, we'll squawk VFR and over to advisory. Thanks for the help, 80-991.
0 Zulu. Wind variable at 6 knots. Visibility more than 10. Sky condition scattered at 1,800, scattered at 2,500, broken at 3,100, temperature 29 Celsius, dew point 25 Celsius, altimeter 2,997 inches of mercury, remarks, density altitude 2,600.
Alright, I think we're going to cross over midfield, enter the left downwind runway 03. Ohio County traffic, Skyhawk 809901 is 5 to the east of the airport. We're going to cross over midfield for left traffic, runway 03, full stop, Ohio County. Yeah, that way we're not landing with that little cell to our back. We want that in front of us, just in case it decides to throw a gust out. We don't want that hitting us from behind.
A little shower did pop up just to the north of the Ohio County Airport, so I opted to enter the downwind and land on runway 03 so that any potential gusts would come from my nose on final as opposed to coming from my tail if I were landing on runway 21. Some more showers were approaching Ohio County Airport from the west, but I had plenty of time to leisurely enter the pattern and land with plenty of time before those storms would even get close.
Alright, let's pull the carb heat, do a pre-landing checklist. Seatbelt shuttle harnesses are good. Brakes, pedal test. Lights are on, barrel minimum set and verify. We don't need it. Autopilot's off, mixture is coming full rich. Carb heat's on, fuel selector is on both, and flaps waiting on the wide arc. VREF is 60 knots, pre-landing checklist complete. We're slowing down. Ohio County traffic, Skyhawk 809901 on the left downwind runway 03, full stop, Ohio County. 85 knots, 11,000, 21,000, 31,000, flap set 10 degrees. Gonna lose some energy in the turn here. Coming to idle. Ohio County traffic, Skyhawk 809901 is left base runway 03, full stop, Ohio County. 11,000, 21,000, 31,000, flap set 20. Ohio County traffic, Skyhawk 809901 turning final runway 03, full stop, Ohio County.
500.
500 AGL. 70 knots, I'm at idle. I think that's all the flaps I'm going to want to use. Definitely have a left crosswind.
Left downwind,
I'm going to give it a little power here. Alright. Heartbeat's coming in, ready for a go around. 70 knots, coming over the fence. A little squirrely. Power's to idle. I'm holding in that right rudder and might just need a smidge of left aileron to hold it in the side slip here. I'm at idle, just letting the airplane come down. Got plenty of runway to bleed the energy. That's a pretty 150. Or is that a 152? Ohio County traffic, Skyhawk 809901 is clear the runway, Ohio County. Alright, did cancel IFR. And we're squawking VFR. Flaps all the way up. 535 a gallon. Not bad.
Here you go.
Just the part we were looking for. That's it.
With the precious cargo delivered, we spent the evening installing the manifold pressure transducer, calibrating the fuel gauges, and running the engine to confirm that there were 0 squawks with this brand new Garmin engine monitor system. This video was recorded before Oshkosh 2024, which is what we're preparing both Cessnas for, since both were going to be on display. And in the next video, I'll be flying 991 down to Nashville International Airport to pick up my dad from the passenger terminal, so we can all fly up to Oshkosh starting from here. The flight into BNA was insanely busy all the way down to the ground. It was airliner after airliner coming in, and the super talented controllers in Nashville were able to squeeze this slow little Skyhawk into the sequence and make everything work. That will be in the next video, and until next time, you know the drill. I want you to stay happy and healthy, stay current in your flying, but most importantly, stay proficient. We'll see you in the next video right here on Aviation 101. Fly safe.